In this podcast episode, I take a look at questions. In fact, the question I'm asking is, are we actually asking the right questions? Out of all the people in the world, the people we tend to trust the most are probably doctors and medical professionals. We believe them to be experts, because if we didn't, we would probably be terrified every time we became ill. But given this faith in doctors, how often do you suppose they actually get it right? Or more terrifyingly, how often do they get it wrong? It is not really that likely that your doctor will tell you you are okay when you're critically ill. But what about the cases where they diagnose a common cold, but your elevated temperature is related to something much more serious? Are they solving the right problem? Studies in the US indicate a 40% misdiagnosis rate, with a reasonable percentage, around 10%, resulting in avoidable death. These statistics are very easily verified following autopsy. But in medicine, as with many other disciplines, we need to diagnose the right condition, i.e. solve the right problem in order to treat it. In the world of creative problem solving, we must do two things. Firstly, correctly identify that the problem really is causing the symptoms, i.e. the business issues, that have been observed. And secondly, when we apply a solution, it must be tailored to that actual problem. So, what is the issue here? How does this come about? Well, overconfidence and over-familiarity are two very good reasons. If we have experts who become complacent or who see the same issues day in, day out, they might just be tempted to assume that the problem is the same problem. Many listeners will be familiar with some of the humorous examples regarding correlation between two completely unrelated variables appearing to show causation. For instance, per capita cheese consumption closely correlates with the number of people who died by becoming tangled in their bedsheets. Now, this is completely ridiculous, but there are more examples. Correlation and causation are very different. A common example that I use is that of a company where sales are falling. The boss says that the sales force is useless and need to be sorted out or replaced. He thinks that the sales force are the cause of falling sales. Now, a simple application of asking why is very revealing. Consider the following. Why are sales falling? Well, because customers don't like our products. But why don't they like our products? Because they're outdated and not as cool as this year's model. And why are our products outdated? Because we've not developed any new ones for 5 years. Well, why haven't we done this before? Because the boss hasn't allowed us. Why has the boss behaved in this way? Because they have no time to spare. Now, in this very simple example, our initial assumption of having a poor sales force is incorrect. The underlying issue is that the boss, possibly you, has no time either because of high workload or poor time management. We can also see that the issue has multiple layers, and unless the issues at lower layers are resolved, then our initial problem is unlikely to be properly resolved. So it could also be a case of not just solving the right problem, but solving the right problems, and in the right order. Einstein is reputed to have said, if I had 1 hour to save the world, I would spend 55 minutes analysing the problem and 5 minutes coming up with a solution. We tend to do the opposite. We just assume we know the cause and then charge ahead designing remedies for the wrong issue. We need to find the root cause of the problem before even starting to think about possible solutions. Most people from middle management upwards are expected to solve problems as part of their jobs. In fact, their superiors often say, "Don't bring me problems, just solutions." These people will then take the route of least resistance to pleasing the boss. On many occasions this might work, but it is always worth asking why. Whether we're solving standard business issues or innovators trying to solve problems that have been puzzling the world for ages, we must avoid making assumptions in order to correctly identify the problem and hence provide the ideal solution. So, something for you to think about. If you want to know more or would like a little help, then please do get in touch. But I'll see you next time.